Welcome back to the channel, guys, and as was reported yesterday, Disney and Sony were close to a deal that would have the wall crawler Spider-Man re-enter the MCU, with various reports indicating that negotiations were headed in an extremely positive direction with both Sony and Disney. Now though, we may have gotten brand new information about one of the extra little details that Sony wants if Spider-Man is to re-enter the MCU. We knew that after Avengers Endgame, Marvel had big plans for Spider-Man after both Phase 4 and Phase 5, with various writers even stating that Spider-Man would be a character that would hold the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe together and lead us into Phase 4 as well as 5. We also know on the other hand though that Sony had major plans for the Spider-Man character after Endgame and after their contract with Marvel wore out. That included having Spider-Man appear in Venom movies, as it was also recently reported that Tom Holland shot a cameo for Venom back in 2018, and that if Marvel had not been using Spider-Man at the time in the MCU, Tom Holland would have appeared as Peter Parker in Venom. But again, Marvel ultimately went back as Venom is not an MCU movie and asked Sony politely to remove the sequence. This time around though, if Marvel would like to see Spider-Man back in the MCU, according to this report, they will have to let Sony use Tom Holland for Venom and other Spider-Verse movies, as this is apparently a key detail on the deal that is currently being worked out between the studios. Sony wants to make a deal where Tom Holland can actually appear in their own universe and still remain in the MCU, and figure out a way to make this work down the line, as again apparently the MCU was not allowing Tom Holland to appear in other Marvel movies that were outside of their own confined universe, what is now called so far the Venomverse, as they did not Venom connecting to the MCU in any way. Although whether or not Venom would take place in the MCU was very ambiguous whenever you asked Sony. Apparently, there are even plans for Spider-Man to appear in other Spider-Verse movies down the line, such as Kraven the Hunter. And this is apparently a key part of the deal that Sony is negotiating with Marvel. And if they can come to an agreement on this, Spider-Man will likely re-enter the MCU. How they will come to an agreement on this, I'm not sure though. But what are your guys' thoughts on this and this major aspect of the deal, that Sony actually wants Tom Holland to appear in their movies as well? Again, according to the report though, Marvel would maintain most creative control over all of the Spider-Man solo movies and his appearances in the Avengers. Take this information with a grain of salt though, as it's always possible, as it does not come from an official source, that it could not be real. But again, the deal sounds believable and likely. So I have sort of a different question for you guys at the end of this video. If you were Marvel, would you be okay with renting out Tom Holland to appear in Sony movies? And how would you handle the deal with Spider-Man's basically appearing as two different iterations of the character in two different franchises? If you were in charge of Marvel, how would you handle this? Again, at 260k, we'll be giving away 4 digital copies of Avengers Endgame. The rules to enter for those copies are as follow. All you have to do is like this video, subscribe, turn on notifications, and tell me in the comments below what Marvel Phase 4 project you're the most excited for. Thank you guys as always so much for watching. Hit that subscribe button to assemble and join our team, and have a great day.